was reading through this Put a Cork in It, this newsletter that Chuck Fox put together every year, and he'd ask for everybody's input from the various chairmen and this and that, and if nobody, if somebody stiffed him on their report, he'd write them up in the cork and give him a new one right there, and that was pretty good. But he had this little epitaph that he would stick into every single one of them. And part of it, the reason I bring it up is because now that we're a 501c3 and we're a very charitable organization, that wasn't always the case. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite of the case. If you were on the board of directors when I was on there, and you came up with an idea like, want to do a scholarship or a fundraiser or something, it wouldn't even get a second. I mean, you were shut down. Chuck's little description of who we are, or how do I get out of this outfit? One of the things he put together, and you can read it if you want, is, are we a charitable organization? And he goes through and he says, numbered amongst our ranks are past presidents of, the American Lung Association, MS Society, all these other, United Way, and of course, you're doing your charity with the nice guys. And there's a lot of people who are very actively involved in charities, but he says, however, we are not, as an organization, in existence for charitable purposes. That's a quote. So, that was the mindset for 50 years. And it's just now kind of changing. And if you look at the books, we were, a break-even club, intentionally. I mean, if you had extra money in the coffers, you plugged it back into the next event, you subsidized the next event, bring the cost down for the next event. So every year you weren't carrying more than a couple $1,000, $1,000, $1,500 if you had a lot more money. You'd run an event off the books, or you'd have a subsidy on the next event, and make sure you kept it low. And so now that's all changed. The mentality's changed, and that's a good thing. Like I said, adapt or die, keep rolling. It brings to mind Leo Sullivan and his idea of bringing women in, and that is an anathema right now. Okay, he's a heretic when he brings that up. And I think I know he's serious, but sometimes I'm not sure. But talk to me in 20 years, and see. I remember way back when I was first on the board, and it was kind of amusing because he just set off this, ignition of debate, and then he'd kind of just sit back and watch it. It was almost like he threw a hand grenade in the middle of the room, just to see what would happen. But the last run he made at it was pretty serious, and stoked some fires, and so at any rate, that's Leo. I mean, some of the chapters have women. So it's not blasphemy.
Never say never.
No, never say never. And they had a women's auxiliary for a while. I was never around when that was around, but there's a good cadre of girls that gather, as your wife, my wife,
Donna Ryan,
and Becky Everett, and Evelyn. I keep getting his name backwards, but. There's a whole clan of them, and Linda O'Connell. They get along great. So we sort of have a non-working auxiliary corps, if you will. One of the good traditions that not everybody gets a chance to bite into, but I know my family does, is family. I've had my son in the parade with me, and my father-in-law, and my brothers, two brothers, and it can bring family together that to celebrate their Irish heritage together. They might not be into all the Friendly Sons trappings and everything, but just to march in the parade with their green blazer, or maybe just go to the black tie dinner. They might not be on all the 17th of the month club events and things like that, but when I first got in, Big Ed McCarthy, did you know Big Ed? All right, so Ed McCarthy's larger than life fella, and his son, when I was on the board, was Mike McCarthy, God rest his soul. Mike was also in the advertising business, and he was a president while I was on the board, and just a gem of a human being. He got a big job up in L.A. and then passed away while he was at work. But then his brother Tim McCarthy was on the board, and president right before me, and his brother Dan, his brother Patrick. All great people. Known them well, and it was just great to. When we were at Tom Ham's, sit around with Big Ed and the 4 or 5 sons. There's another one out there too, I forget. And there are too many to keep track of. But what I'm saying is, it can be a family event. You got, like Dave Harrison and Bob Harrison. I mean, there's a lot of father, son, brother.
He has his sons. He has his sons.
He
Colin
has his sons coming
Tyler.
in.
Yeah.
Terry O'Malley, his son Mike, and his other son Patrick. And you've got just a lot of events where, maybe just one person is super active, but the other ones, they'll all show up and they'll all celebrate their Irish heritage together, and they'll all be having fun with it. And some are more active than others, but it's a great opportunity for some of us to have a family event where you celebrate with your brothers or sons or fathers or whatever it is. When we first started doing Christmas parades, it had to be about 96 or 97, and then 98 we went and we were doing the Pacific Beach Christmas Parade, and that was done during the day, and it was a slower parade. Like, they spaced the groups out. So anyway, it was more boring than the OB parade. The OB parade is a blast because it's condensed. The streets are smaller, the entries are closer together on each other's heels. For some reason, they would wait till the next entry was a couple of 100 yards away before they net the next one in. And the streets are super wide, so it was kind of thin, and it was kind of a new idea to march in the Christmas parade. And so we only had maybe about 20, 25 guys in it, and so we're coming down, and my wife is Leslie's filming it. She's standing in front of the tiki. I don't know if you remember the tiki bar, but she's filming it from there, and we come past and we're waving. And if you look at the video, and I'll give you the disc, but I thought I posted it to YouTube, you'll see some people in it from '98, including Chuck Fox, Bobby McNamara, of course, Mike Neal's marching everybody in lockstep, Terry Huff, another man who's passed away, he's a good man, and I think Bob Harrison you can see in the background too, and we're marching down, and Leslie's hollering at me, and I'm waving back, and I come over and I kiss the baby. My daughter at the time was like 4 months old. And so we marched down to the end of the parade, and we popped into a pub, of course, and have a few drinks. And then the parade's over. The street's still empty, and Mike Neal orders everybody back out onto the street, and we're going to march back up. We're marching up the parade. We're marching up the parade route. And everybody's like, the cops are coming, so we better get out of here quick. He's like, no, force forward. If anybody asks, Franco Dwyer's in charge, all right? He's the one. So he was like president at the time. So we're gonna throw a Dwyer under the bus. So we march all the way back up, and then we have, the video kind of ends when I get to the tiki and I'm trying to say something clever and comes out all mumbled, and it's obviously I had a pop or two, and so. But from there on, for many years, we were talking about the Wrong Way Parade, how Dwyer's in charge. And when I got I dug up some old footage many years ago and put together this very cheesy video called The Wrong Way Parade.